Welcome to the Daily Nebraskan Sideline Pulse, our first ever show. We've had a few iterations of the podcast, but we're coming back with our brand new Sideline Pulse show. I'm Assistant Sports Editor Ben Beecham. I'm joined by sports staff writers Logan Moseley and Sam Whittaker.
Yo, yo, yo.
How we doing, fam?
So we got bits.
And we got Jackson in the back.
Yeah, we got Jackson Ingvoldstad,
Shout out.
video editor and all-around great guy.
Audio
Our
engineer.
producer.
All right.
Is that your introduction?
Yeah.
All right, so pretty eventful week of Nebraska sports coming up, and pretty eventful weekend we're coming off of. Nebraska getting the win over Northwestern, becoming bowl eligible. What are your guys' initial thoughts?
It's a huge win, first and foremost. The fact that Matt Rule going into that game, and it was all anybody was talking about, he was 1-10 with 5 wins in Nebraska. That to get over that hump there, ugly win, but still win indeed. And by technicality, Nebraska qualifies for a bowl game before Iowa this year. It's been a while since I could say that.
A couple hours before.
Couple hours before, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm scared. This Nebraska team makes me feel anxious every week. I mean, Minnesota was just absolutely atrocious, and then, barely beating Northwestern. I am so petrified of what USC is going to do to us.
Let's not talk about.
Let's give Northwestern their flowers. I think they're a pretty hard-nosed football team. I mean, David Braun in their first year there, after that kind of train wreck with Pat Fitzgerald, had him win 8 or 9 games and win a bowl game. He's kind of had that program in a decent spot for a bit. Preston Stone, he wasn't a very good quarterback, and I think Nebraska took as much advantage of that as they could. But you really want to see them kind of control that running game a bit more.
Yeah.
That front defensive line looked bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
I mean, they were rotating guys in constantly, and it really didn't matter who they put in, what kind of faces they put in. There's just no pressure coming from there.
No,
it's just
not
kind of
at
like
all.
there's just nothing going on there.
And I think the big problem, too, is the fact that everyone is kind of undersized. The biggest guy that you can really pull to, or two of the bigger guys you can really pull to, are Riley Van Poppel and Gabe Moore. And Gabe Moore hasn't gotten that much playing time. He's the transfer from Mississippi State. And then Riley Van Poppel just
has been very disappointing.
I've had very high hopes for
My
him
favorite
this
part of
year.
the game might have been when he got his abrupt movement penalty, but he thought it was a false start. So right after that happened, he started celebrating, and then about 10 seconds later was given the penalty. I thought that was a little funny.
I was driving home to Omaha during that game because I had some obligations, and I'm listening to Damon Benning.
He went
2 plays later. He's
I
still
didn't
talking
listen to
about
it.
that
It was
abrupt move. It was
really-
so funny. I'm thinking to myself,
he went to my high, or he didn't go to my high school, but his son Caleb,
Yeah,
who's on the football team now, Damon was always around, so it's funny hearing him on the call sometimes. But I wasn't able to listen to that.
it was so funny because 2 plays later, I think because they get the 1st and 5, and then they get positive yardage again, and Damon just goes, "What is abrupt movement?"
He was caught up.
Do I have to start saying that I'm going to blitz?
He was caught up on like a couple of calls for a
Yeah.
while.
I'm really surprised in the presser after the game, Matt Rule didn't bring any of it up.
Yeah,
he didn't talk about it at all.
Rule's always been kind of avoidant unless it's like blatant of just like avoiding talking about the refs.
Yeah.
Because I think every coach should be, unless it's like a really bad, obvious one, because there's just nothing good's ever going to come of complaining about the refs
Yeah.
in a post-game presser.
And the other thing that I think of when it comes to Rule and like those fouls and stuff like that, he'll fight for it on the field, but when the game's over, the game's over. Win or lose,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. A 5-yard penalty, abrupt movement isn't going to truly affect the game an insane amount, especially if you
I don't know.
like,
Maybe Riley Van Poppel should make some abrupt movements after the ball has been snapped. That's neither here nor there. I wasn't really too disappointed with this game. I think a lot of people are kind of like having this doomer mentality about it, and I think.
I thought it was a good game.
Yeah, I think winning a game is. I think people need to start realizing that winning a game is still winning a game, even if it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
Especially in like kind of a hard-nosed game with like time possessions of the essence in the game like that. And outside of his interception, I really wasn't too mad about how Dylan Raiola performed.
That fumble was
bad. Yeah, I don't know why he's trying to go up and over on that, especially given where they were on the field. But I really don't think they employed his arm a ton. I think they were really just like getting those short passes, and that's why they didn't give up a sack, is because they weren't letting them have those long developing plays. And that's a little concerning that they're just like kind of like we can't do a long passing concept because the line won't hold up, especially now that Teddy's gone down. Gunnar Gatula's, we don't know what his health is currently. I'm sure he'll be able to good to go for USC.
Yeah.
But there's just so much uncertainty there.
Yeah, and what I did find interesting is I saw this quote after the game from one of the Northwestern edge rushers, and I'm blanking on the name, otherwise I would say it. And he was asked about getting pressure and how they weren't able to get much pressure against Dillon and that entire offense, and he flat out said they were getting the ball out faster than we were expecting, which I think I have been kind of low on Dana Holgerson so far this year just because I feel like he isn't incorporating the skill players that we have to the best of his abilities. But getting the ball out faster, I do like to see that. I want to see Ja'Cory more in the game. He was so involved in the beginning of the year, and it feels like he's just fallen off the face of the earth, not because of due to his play, just because he's not getting the ball.
Yeah, they like getting him the ball in space, especially on those kind of jet sweeps, those handoffs. But they also really like running him down the field. And now that they aren't really relying on that, they're kind of getting it to more of their physical pass catchers like Nazea Hunter, who might be the best receiver on this team.
Oh, man, he's so good.
I mean, the Cal staff were really, really mad that they lost him. They thought he could be like one of the best receivers in the country. He's physical. He has the frame. He's insanely fast, might be the fastest receiver on the team. He's able just to fight through that contact. He can change his body throughout the air. I think in Cincinnati, the thought kind of hatched in my mind, is he the best receiver? And then Dane Key had a few good games. Like, he's probably the guy. He's the one who's supposed to be in that role. And now I'm just flat out, Nazea Hunter's the best receiver on this team.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, in my head, it was Ja'Cory at 1, just because he had all the time in the system compared to Dane and Nazea. And then Dane at 2, just because of the experience. Nazea at 3, not because of anything Nazea's done, just the starting off of the depth chart for me. And then Ja'Cory goes off and does what Ja'Cory does. And then, like you said, Dane had a couple of good games. And then it didn't feel like it was out of nowhere to Nebraska fans, but to everybody else, it seemed like he just started to pop off. And it was just finally being able to get him the ball, scheme around one of your best players. And I'm glad to see it happening.
And he can kind of do it all. He can kind of get those deep routes, but he's just such a physical pass catcher. Like, even if there's a defender right there, he's able to just kind of just grab it. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. He's just able to grab it. And that's a skill that a receiver has to have, especially when he doesn't have a lot of time to create space with the shorter passing concepts.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this week to see how that goes against USC, kind of to segue into it's a big game.
This is the most concerned I've been going
this is
the
third
game.
I think third time's the charm here, it feels like, almost, for Matt Rule in this big game scenario. Michigan, you lose that game, and that one, I didn't think we were going to win that game. Like, the fan in me was like, oh, yeah, we're going to beat Michigan. Bryce Underwood's not going to be able to do anything. But the realist said to me, like, Michigan is a better team. They're more physical than us. They're probably going to win. And then Minnesota, they just have always had our number over the past 10 years. PJ Fleck, he just knows how to coach against us. He knows how to beat us. Very good coach.
It still just felt so disappointing, though.
Yeah.
I know you're making like a drawn-out point, but like I thought that was the second most disappointing loss under Rule, personally, besides second to the UCLA game last year.
That UCLA game was
I thought that was the worst loss under Rule.
That Northwestern game yesterday had all. Sorry to interrupt you, but it had all the makings of like the UCLA game last year.
It really
It's like
did.
a cold, kind of dreary game. No one's really that excited about it. It's just kind of like
slow.
It's a game that you kind of got to get through, a game that you should win. And then last year, the UCLA come in there, punch them in the mouth, get the win. But this year, they kind of handled business and beat that Northwestern team that they maybe going into this year was the only conference opponent where we're like, that's a win. That has to be a win.
If Northwestern was not a win, then there would be problems throughout coaching staff, athletic department, exactly, especially with the way that firings were going now. If we go on that skid, obviously I don't think we'd fire Matt Rule in the middle of the season.
But a lot can change in 3 games. James Franklin was number 2 in the country, and they went on a 3-game skid.
Yeah, and then LSU lost 3 of 4. And now Brian Kelly's gone. Like it's not crazy this year to say that.
I mean, the coaching carousel this year is just all out of whack. I mean, Billy Napier, me and my roommate were talking about it. That made sense. Florida's been kind of iffy.
And he's had 5 years, too, or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the coaching now, it's just insane. It goes to the old adage of there is no loyalty anymore in college football, and it continues to show as we go throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
Let's not get too far off track, though. Let's go back. Let's go back to USC. I mean, watching Jaden Maeva in his first start last year, all I had was the only thoughts I had were this is a dang good quarterback. He's probably maybe the best dual threat in terms of having the good mixture of running and passing in the Big Ten.
He looks like he could be a pure pocket passer, and then he can scramble for 15, 20 yards.
The thing about him, he can also run, but he also has the kind of like extending plays that are the best dual threats quarterback.
Yes.
Dual threat quarterbacks have. Last year, he was just able to go all over the field, and then he had guys like Deuce Robinson who were able to just like kind of bully Nebraska's shorter defensive backs. And I'm concerned, especially now they have one of the best receivers in the country, Mekhi Lemon. Is Wayman Jordan?
I think he's still out.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't want to.
Because they've had 2 injuries in the running back room. They're down to their 3rd string right now.
But last year, Woody Marks got hurt. Quentin Joyner came in and had a good game. And then Woody Marks came back and had an even better game.
Exactly. The way that USC is offensively, any team with Lincoln Riley, they're going to be able to do something offensive. If you stop them offensively, that's your key to winning, which I don't know if we can do that this week.
I think they did a better job than I thought they would last year. USC also has less playmakers, I'd say, than they did last year. I think when you really look at the team, kind of in hindsight, Zachariah Branch is now the best receiver at Georgia.
It's
Deuce
a little
Robinson's
more
at Florida State.
Yeah.
Mekhi Lemon was there last year.
Yeah, but he was. I mean, you just said 2 other guys that were ahead.
But
of him,
at running back, they had Woody Marks, Quentin Joyner, 2 very, very good running
Yes.
backs. That was Maeva's first start, though, was against Nebraska.
Were they coming off a bye week? I know we were coming off a bye week.
They might have been.
They were too.
I'm not 100% sure of that. But Maeva's had a lot of time. Lincoln Riley knows how to use those quarterbacks. I'm concerned. I think they know how big of a game this is for Nebraska, so they're going to kind of bring that same level of excitement.
I think Nebraska needs to realize, and fans too, that this should be a shootout. This is not the defense will win this game. But I
don't
feel
think
very
so.
unconfident in this game. Truly gut feeling. I feel way less confident in this game for Nebraska than I did about the Michigan game. I feel like the Michigan game, it was going to be
I feel
close.
about the same level of confidence.
It doesn't help that Michigan USC blew the brakes off of Michigan too.
Yeah.
And it was not even close.
And they shut them down pretty well. I don't think this game becomes a shootout. I think that it comes down to I think Nebraska's offense can have the same output no matter how the game goes. I think it's literally just can they limit USC's offense and slow the game down.
Yeah.
If they let USC speed the game up, get some quick scores, I think it's lights out for Nebraska.
And I think to kind of build off of the game on Saturday, the fact that we were actually running the ball with Emmett Johnson is going to be huge. The talk about the time of possession, that battle will always be huge in every single game. But the fact that Dana Holgerson in this offense is starting to commit to running the ball more, giving Emmett Johnson 20 carries for what do you have, 100 or like
120
something yards. Like that's what we
125.
need to see. Because he's going to bounce off of guys. He's going to make guys miss. He's not going to break away for a big score, but he's just going to go down the field, get under the pad level, and just kind of get going.
The craziest part about Emmett Johnson's game is that there's still like very obvious rooms for improvement. Like he kind of cuts. I think I heard someone say he kind of cuts on air a lot. Like it's almost like you're playing Madden and you just accidentally you accidentally juked. He does that. He does that a bit.
He is like the shiftiest.
He's incredible.
I've seen.
He's kind of like
from Nebraska.
He's kind of level balanced. It's just something. It's like a bowling pin. Just like kind of bouncing off all these guys. I have not seen that in a long time at Nebraska. Where I'm just like he's still going and it's so consistent.
It's super weird. I was talking about this with my dad. He's like. The best way that I can describe Emmett Johnson is this combination of shiftiness and quickness of Amir Abdullah and just the ground and pound of Rex Burkhead. I don't know. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with that. It's
some high bars.
I know, very, very high bars. But I'm like, if you were to create a child with those two and have him play football, that's who I imagine Emmett Johnson.
I think Nebraska running backs have very much fallen into one archetype. They're either the power guy or they're kind of like the shifty guy. Yeah. And I think they haven't had a blend like that Emmett has in a long time. I would say at least back to Amir. I don't know if there's anyone else between that.
And even then, Amir was more shifty than he was. Like, and I guess maybe you could, if you want to extend, Amon Green is probably like, and that's when you're getting to like goat territories. And I love Emmett Johnson. He's awesome. But you got it.
Greatest professor
yeah.
of all time.
Our esteemed sports media 150 professor Amon Green. All right, going off of football.
Let's go into our Amon Green storytelling.
No, that's we'll save that for
I don't know
another
if we
day. Going into a team that maybe the discourse is a little bit more boring compared to Nebraska football. Nebraska volleyball, 2 more sweeps. I'm pretty sure that's now 11 straight sweeps. Have not dropped a single set in conference play.
I mean, it's very similar to how we were talking about special teams last week in our
Our foe, the run through.
foe episode. Like, it's great. Like, I want to talk about Nebraska volleyball, but like,
I can't.
I don't know if I should be saying the word boring.
No, I would say boring. Like,
But it's boring in a good way. It's
sitting,
like-
I had the revelation when I was covering the Northwestern game. I was sitting there in the venue. I'm like, this is just a little bit boring. Like, they're too good. They're
know.
reaching the point where it's too boring to cover. It's fun to watch.
It's
but
fun to watch, but like,
It's very boring to write about.
I don't know. So I work for 10-11 as a sports intern, and one of my duties is going to volleyball games, filming, and then logging on my phone anytime there's a notable, like, highlight-worthy play. And it is so freaking hard to do that because I'm filming, and, like, every play is just Andy Jackson freaking demolishes the face of Michigan State's center. And it's fun to watch. It's fun to film, but it's just, like, there's not much to talk
Now that they've
about other
really-
than are we winning the championship, which only time will tell.
Now that they've really set the lineup, they've just kind of like been on autopilot. Like
Yeah.
Virginia Adriano is just insane.
I'm really rocking with her. And
Yeah,
like,
and she's only a freshman technically.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if she's technically a freshman or
She's
not.
only technically a freshman. The middles are as good as they always are. Talking about middles, Manaya Ogbeche, she is one of the most whenever they put her in there, she is one of the most efficient middles, maybe in the country. I know DBK mentioned when she played against Rutgers had 10 blocks. That they just love to get her in there. I mean, next year her alongside Andy Jackson is going to be unreal. I mean, I think we have to remember that the core of this team still has another year.
right.
And
after
then
this.
to build off of that, the upcoming core as well, like Olivia Mock, just
Sigler,
yeah,
Sigler,
Tarai Sigler.
she kicked some ass on for Michigan State. It's been, someone was saying, DBK didn't even know, it's been quite a while since any player has had a double-digit kill game. But it's just because there's just so much depth. She led the team. Sigler led the team in kills. But, like, I there's a lot of times with, like, Nebraska football or just other times I've watched Nebraska volleyball before being a student here. There's been somewhere it's like, well, once so-and-so graduates, I mean, it's like, who's next? Like, I don't know. Like once Ty Robinson and Nash leave, our D-line is kind of cooked. With Nebraska volleyball, there's just, like,
They're
layers on top
constantly
of
reloading.
layers. Once Rebecca Alec leaves, like, we're going to be just fine. There's so much depth to our squad that, I'm fairly confident we'll win a championship this year. And in years, like,
You can almost
going
pencil him
forward.
in to the Kansas City Final Four.
Oh, for
Oh, yeah.
sure. For sure. And I think the craziest thing about all this, too, is you go from John Cook to DBK.
Seamless.
Seamless. And
Insane.
you, in my opinion, you're better. Like,
oh, yeah.
And you can say that because of the talent that's coming or whatever and the recruiting by DBK and Cook. But the fact that you keep the entire staff and Jalen Reyes doesn't leave, which was huge.
Yeah.
You keep everybody. Nobody transfers out. You get the transfers in. You get Virginia. I'm not even going to try and say
Virginia
her last name.
Adriano.
Thank you, because I was going to mess that up.
She's the Italian.
Yes,
dressing as
I
neat
knew
as
she was
needed.
Italian, so give me some credit there. But as far as the fact that it's so seamless, you arguably are better. You haven't dropped a set in a month. You haven't dropped a set in conference play. You smoke everybody you play. Like,
I think if they
That shouldn't happen.
if they sweep Wisconsin this upcoming Friday, I think there's that's when we start talking about, do they lose a set in conference play? In Wisconsin, they haven't set the world on fire either, and they're the second best team in the Big Ten potentially.
there's not even like the drop off is so insane in the Big Ten in volleyball this year. Like, it's Nebraska, and then it's everybody else finding it out. It feels like the old Alabama days in the SEC, where you just penciled in Alabama to the SEC championship game, and it was just who wanted to show up.
And one last thing before we move on to basketball is that the way that Nebraska volleyball has kind of like established itself as the top brand in college volleyball, players now even more, alongside winning, being the best team in the country, they also just want to be there because they'll grow their brand as volleyball players so much.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Cool little homecoming moment for when we played Michigan State. Malaya Long, she's from Lincoln Southwest. She was playing. She's their setter, and she's awesome. I mean, just the environment of Nebraska too. Is what I was meaning to say. Like they were just so welcoming towards her, and like audience, like the Bob is always like cheering on the starters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a welcoming environment.
Playing into Vandy's like every opponent, especially like the smaller schools, it's like that. They pencil that in like months and months in advance.
Right.
And
Even if they're going to get like their heads
they know that they're
going to
get swept, and there's like, we get to play in the Bob Devaney Sports Center.
Right.
I think we kind of take that for granted. This is like the mecca of college volleyball right here.
Maybe pinnacle.
That poses one of my questions I've been thinking on for a couple weeks. Is
a
this
long
the
time.
greatest? Is this the greatest Nebraska athletic team we have ever seen? Better than those '90s football teams?
Ooh.
I don't know. No, I'd say no.
They got to win a championship first.
I don't know.
They have to win the
They
championship.
have to win a
I mean,
championship first.
if they do win a championship,
So, okay, when you're phrasing this question, are you saying like dynasty-wise? Are you saying like
I mean, I'm thinking just like yearly because they like rank yearly
I'd
teams.
say no.
Like 2020 Alabama's one of the best football teams ever. 1995 Nebraska. If they do win,
I'd say
we have
no.
to wait till the season's like fully over.
I think it's harder to put together a dominant season like that in football.
Yeah.
I think like I used to have I think it was 95 poster, and it had like all the scores for each game, and it would be like Oklahoma 50 to nothing. When Oklahoma, that was still in the time when Oklahoma, that game would be competitive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was the actual score, so don't. But it would be like teams that they would consistently play closely against them. They were absolutely killing that year.
And I mean, if you go to the stats too, that 95 team didn't have a holding call.
Yeah.
Like,
but-
like that's the level. Like Nebraska would I feel like if you were even get close to that conversation, they would need to sweep their first three opponents in the tournament without like an error.
I feel
or
like there
anything
also
that.
needs to be at least a championship or two
Exactly.
in like very
Exactly.
recent
Again,
history
it's
to back
something-
it. I know it's been
Exactly.
like 2017 was our last one, which is still recent, but like
That feels like
not as
forever ago,
recent.
though.
It does.
That does feel like a very long time for the team that we've been watching.
Especially because that one came so closely off another one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What was the last one before that? 15.
15.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have one in 14 too.
I don't think.
I don't
so.
think so.
back-to-back,
no.
man.
I think
That
it
much
was
of a wagon.
it was the 90s or 2000s before.
All right, but
Last
moving
one.
on.
Yeah.
Moving
Moving
on.
To PBA Arena, which could also be volleyball. In the
It
near
could be
future.
volleyball in the future, but
Good.
that's neither here nor there yet.
Yeah.
But men's basketball, with their second exhibition coming up tonight when we're filming on Monday, will have already passed by then against Midland. But what we haven't talked about is
a very important game.
there-
Yeah. Unstoppable force versus movable.
Well, we haven't
object.
talked-
Midland Warriors really
Midland.
gonna.
what we haven't
Turn the
talked
needle.
about yet is their big exhibition win over number 8 BYU preseason
Yeah,
AP
that was
poll.
pretty great.
That was AJ DeBance, the number 1 prospect. That was his debut for BYU. I'm not going to read too far into it. I think Nebraska showing their efficiency shooting was very important. And I'll let you get to your point very soon.
I think
But-
you can.
But what I will also say, BYU star transfer point guard Rob Wright did not play in the second half. I think that's very, very important note. I know both teams are kind of rotating in a lot of guys, but I think that is a very important note. And I still think letting DeBanza score 30 is not great. I think this team will struggle defensively. I think that if they want to win at the games, they have to keep that same shooting output, and that is a tall ask.
Oh yeah, for sure. The big thing though to me is BYU beat UNC in an exhibition game as well. Very close game, and I know that's all the
we're-
antics of reading into preseason and these
I
games
liked-
that don't count.
I liked when these exhibitions were secret scrimmages and there was no evidence that they actually happened.
No, rank
because
us.
they never matter. These exhibitions never matter. Secret scrimmages, now they let them do like the big exhibitions. They don't matter. Basketball teams, especially now, need time to play together, find an identity, find that guy on the bench that might not be playing now, that might be a big piece down the line.
Exactly.
That's very important, especially in exhibition. They're just trying to manage their workload and get some reps in
Yeah.
like a real game
Yeah.
before they actually go out there.
Yeah, but at the same time, you beat a top 10 team. Their talent should outmass our starters.
That win does mean something. It doesn't mean as much as some people think it does.
For sure. And I think it was John Rothenstein that put it great, where he was like, it's a big win for Nebraska. You can read into it as much as you want. He's saying that it's great for Nebraska. Of course it is. But at the same time, like you're saying, there's the double-edged sword of them not starting their transfer point guard in the second half.
We'll just have to wait to see the importance of this Midland game.
Man.
This weighs everything in perspective.
I think what we need to think about this team is that there's a lot. And I think what we need to also think, BYU is the best team they're going to play until maybe Purdue in February.
Yeah.
They don't really play a great team for a long time. They have some decent non-conference opponents, but I hope that the BYU exhibition game, kind of the excitement it drummed up, I hope it entices Nebraska to maybe schedule a top 10 opponent in the actual non-conference slate. Thank you guys for joining the Sideline Pulse show, and it's
the rebrand. This is
the rebrand.
We're back,
and it's first show back. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope you stick around and tune back in next time on the Sideline Pulse show.
We're back like Nebraska football.
Thank you guys for tuning in.